This is the concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and it's funny because every so often I'll come into the pod and I really won't have anything that I really want to talk about, or I didn't do anything that was different over the weekend. Not this week. This week I took people's advice. I went to the south end of the strip where everybody, all the regular folk are at, because I guess I don't hang out where the regular folk hang out at, and I tried hanging out at those places, and I do have thoughts. I ended up going to the Planet Hollywood, where I had dinner, had a couple drinks, and then I ended up going to a new spot, which is actually in downtown Las Vegas, which that was a really fun adventure, actually, I have to say. So we'll definitely jump into all of that. I'm really excited to jump in today's episode, so let's not wait any longer, and let's get into the review of our Saturday at Carmella's at the Planet Hollywood. Okay, Race, let's go ahead and dive into it. So I had gone to Delilah's, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was doing like a question and answer, which those of you who participated on Concierge Confidential _LV on the Instagram, really appreciate that. I've actually really enjoyed doing those, and I think I'm going to probably do more of those just because it's a cool way for me to like interact with you guys and also like kind of create content at the same time, just because it's hard, like when I do like DMs, because then like not everybody else gets to like read those because they're private, obviously. So had a couple suggestions. This one actually was a DM, was that have you ever tried going to places that are on the southern end of the strip? And to be honest with you guys, I have a little bit more responsibility on my other job than when I used to when I started the podcast, where I was able to have like Wednesdays and Thursdays off, and I had to work at my other job like Friday through Tuesday, which was absolutely terrible. But Wednesday and Thursday was a great time to go out to the strip just because it wasn't as busy. Usually during the week, it's not. Wednesdays and Thursdays are usually pretty dead. You're able to get into more restaurants. You're able to sort of maneuver up and down the strip a little bit easier. And honestly, at that time, there were not hotels that were open that I frequent now, or places that I frequent now either, or, had the thought of going at that time. So I would end up going to a lot of places that were on the south end of the strip, a little bit more approachable. And now that I work Monday through Fridays, and then I have the weekends off, traffic comes into mind a lot more frequently. You think like, oh, that's silly. But for someone who has a car and wants to maneuver up and down the strip, going to the Bellagio it used to be my favorite thing to do. Now it's probably one of the things I disdain the most, just because of the absurd traffic that you get in that part of town. So I hate traffic being an issue, but it ended up making me go more to places like Fontainebleau, Resorts World, the Wynn, which I now call I call that sort of like the home base for a lot of things. But don't worry, guys. I still know what the south end of the strip looks like after years of working on that end and also, hanging out in those areas. So with that being said, I thought it would be, really fun to check out a restaurant that I've been hearing about and really wanted to try because I do love Italian food, and that is Carmella over at the Planet Hollywood. The room itself actually takes over what used to be, my goodness. Oh, man, I forgot the sushi name of the restaurant. I suck. Jesus. Oh, man, it makes me so mad. But there used to be a sushi restaurant, which it now took over, which is now an Italian restaurant, which is kind of funny because also next to that sushi restaurant was like a little bar that my brother and his friends had gone into one time. And it was literally just like a DJ booth and just like this hilarious looking room. So this restaurant actually took over that entire space. Is it raw sushi? Oh, my goodness, it's going to piss me off. But anyways, so I got to Carmella after researching what do I want to eat, and I got to go to the south end of the strip. I was really close to going to the beer park, but the beer park, it was a little bit hot outside, and I've been there before, so I said, you know what, I really want to try Carmella. So I parked over at the Bellagio, walked across the street, and went to Carmella. Honestly, that is kind of the move for me. Some people like to park at, like, let's just say Planet Hollywood. Well, this is the thing about being a local. I do have a player's card that gets me free parking at MGM Resorts, which is key to have if you're going to be parking on the strip quite frequently. and not for Caesars. And Caesars is actually one of the most strict with their parking rules and also one of the more expensive. So I didn't park at those properties. By the way, fun fact is that the Planet Hollywood parking structure is actually owned by the Miracle Mile shops, which is not owned by Planet Hollywood. So for the longest time, they were free until they decided to start charging for parking because people caught on to that. So anyways, parked over at Bellagio, walked over to Carmella. I was outside for exactly 10 minutes, way too hot. I cannot break my rule again of having to walk more than 2 hotels over, which essentially I walked 3 hotels over, but on the outside of the strip. It's so hot, guys. Just walking the strip is one of those things that, yes, you have to be like a young person to want to participate in that activity. If it's in the evening, like I guess, especially like if it's in the autumn or spring where it's not as hot, but walking in 105-degree weather, not the business. So anyways, get to Carmella. It's on the 2nd floor of the Planet Hollywood, which is, really spacious and very nice up there. Cool thing, once you get up to the elevator, once you get up the escalator, they have a little promoter there. And this is the thing where you should probably just take the ticket and see what happens. 2-for-1 drinks at the place that I was going to. So 2-for-1 drinks at Carmella's Lounge, which we'll get to that later. We walk into Carmella, which is right next to the Strip House, which is a very popular steakhouse that my brother loves. I'm kind of down on it. I don't think it's that great. Great for large parties, though, because you can actually book a very large group there without a credit card authorization form. So for those of you coming to Las Vegas in a large group, might be a good option for those of you wanting to go. So get into Carmella, walk in. They have a very nice lounge area where you can sit at. I sat at the bar. Nice little bar. You don't really get the view of the strip. That does have to be inside the main part of the restaurant, where they also do have a patio. It does have lots of it has this black and white floor, which is very like New York Italian. And I do want to bring this up is that I feel like now that I've been in Vegas for a while and I've been to a lot of Italian restaurants here in town, many different types of what they call Italian restaurants in town. So you have the classic sort of like big plates, red sauce joint. I would say a red sauce joint is essentially going to be something that you're going to find across the United States, meaning that it's going to be very, very much influenced on New York Italian cuisine. So what do I mean by that? So essentially what that means is that it's Italian cuisine that was really born and bred in New York. These big, big plates, chicken parmesan, traditional spaghetti, that kind of cuisine. Lasagna, essentially really heavy, really deep sauces. Very, very, very heavy pastas is essentially what I'm thinking here. Pizza, that kind of thing. Napoleano. Pizza Napoleano? Pizza Napoleon? I don't know. Anyways, but that's what I would consider like New York style Italian food. Something that you would get at like a place back home. Pretty heavy, very hefty. That's what I'm thinking of. Then you have like traditional Italian, which is going to be something like Mother Wolf. Mother Wolf is also very specific. That is a Roman Italian cuisine, which is lots and lots of pastas. You tend to get a lot more lighter sort of pasta options, something with like lemon. You also get like carbonara is really, really popular. My goodness, what else do they have? A lot of bologneses, but like the bolognese are, really, hearty stew, like really hearty pastas themselves. Bolognese isn't always like fantastic, and I have to say that it really depends on the meat that you choose. I'm really cool with pork. I like beef. Those are the ones that I like. I've had lamb as well, and lamb is also pretty good too. But we're going to get to the one that's here, and it's ground veal, which we will talk about that in a little bit, and it's a little bit different. But this place is definitely like a heavier sauce joint, a regular like red sauce, sort of it's old school Italian. Another one was like Lucchini, which that's at MGM Grand. I would say it's very similar to Carmella, which is large portions, family style, immigrant cuisine essentially. That's what I would those are sort of equate closer together. Something like Lago is a little bit more similar to like Mother Wolf, even though like it's really not even close. But that is something that would be closer together, would be those two restaurants. So just trying to sort of put together sort of likes with likes. But as we kind of go through, I get to Carmella, nice room, beautiful. It's brand new, so everything is very, very clean. It wasn't extremely busy on the inside at the time I went there, which it was about 7:30 on a Saturday. By the way, this all took place on a Saturday night, just so you know, when people say Vegas is dead, we will use this as one of our, key points. So, somewhat busy, not too bad. I think it's good for a date. It's also good for, maybe like a middle to nice night out in Vegas if you're coming out for like a special occasion. The menu itself, lots of appetizers. I would say this is actually a really great place for like apps, and then you go to a show. The full meal, maybe not as much, but they do have lots and lots of appetizers. I ended up getting the veal parmesan meatballs, which were actually a little bit smaller and a little bit crunchy on the outside, and they were actually filled with mozzarella cheese, which I totally didn't expect it to happen, and very good. Highly recommend. I thought the veal parmesan meatballs were very good. They were $25, just so you know, and you get 3 of them, which we'll get to the price point in a little bit. So ended up having the veal parmesan. I also had an old fashioned. It's sort of like my testing point is if you can make a good old fashioned. I trust you with the rest of the menu. So had that. They do also have like their specialty pastas. Essentially, they have 5 of them. They have a rigatoni alla Garcia, which that's guanciale, pecorino. They also have baked manicotti, which has ricotta, spinach, and marinara. They have a tomato penne, cavatelli bolognese, that's what I had, and they also had a blue crab malfadine. We'll go with it. And then they also have a steak. They have New York strip, filet mignon, lamb chops, bone and ribeye, branzino, shrimp, lobster, and grilled octopus, along with any sauces. And of course, they have a bunch of their sides. The house specialties are going to be very much like, chicken parmesan, that kind of thing. They have a stuffed chicken parmesan. They have a Chilean sea bass, veal chop, all that good stuff. So I ended up getting the meatballs, as I said, and then I also had the cavatelli bolognese. So it didn't take too super long to get my food, and the bartenders were quite nice. And I have to say, I love bolognese, but for some reason, this grilled ground veal. Let's go over this really quick. So if you saw the pictures that I had posted on it, it's a little bit more like an orangish pink instead of being it's more of like an orange, I should say, rather than like a deep dark red or like more of a brown sort of meat color. And I can usually tell right away that I was not going to be a huge fan of it. And I thought it was nicely made. I did not enjoy the flavor of it. It just sort of felt like it was missing something in the cavatelli. It was also $44. So I was in between getting the cavatelli bolognese and the rigatoni alla Garcia because I like guanciale. And I did look at pictures. This is another thing that you can do. If you have trouble sort of envisioning the food as you're looking at the menu, just have the waiter go away or something. And then you can go to Yelp. And then you go to Yelp. They have a really cool feature that you can actually go and look at pictures of the menu. It'll say menu and have pictures of it. And you can just get a general idea of what that dish will look like if you're a visual person. And that is something that I looked at and I was like, well, I'm going to do the cavatelli instead. But you have to bear with Yelp. They're not always the best picture takers because they're amateur. But by the way, if you guys are taking pictures and putting them on Yelp, use your flash. You're going to piss people off. I get it. But we don't want to see in the dark. If we want to see the food, use some flash. So I got the cavatelli, and it was okay. It was fine. It was good. Probably could be shared for 2, and overall, it was just fine. Then I get the bill because then I know because I have a couple stops I have to make in this evening, and then I get the bill, and it was $104. This is the thing is when you try different places is that you do not know how many of what things you can get and know what the price is going to be. I was flabbergasted that it was this expensive at this restaurant. I got 3 items. I got an entree, an appetizer, and a drink. Holy shit. That is expensive. I hate to be that it's expensive person. And again, I go to places that can be considered expensive, but you kind of just learn how to budget those things sometimes. I know at Delilah's, I could get 3 cocktails and I'm under $100. I'm good. But man, that really threw me for a loop that it was $104 for 3 items. Could you imagine if there were 2 people? That's a lot. So, I mean, where have I been? We've been to, oh my goodness, what's the name of the place? Smith and Walensky. And it was 3 people, and our food ended up being like $210. But again, that was for 3 people, and we got a lot of food. We got like a steak, we got a lobster tail, we got sides, we got salads, we got a dessert, we got some alcohol, and and it was still cheaper than that. I mean, in comparison, it's wild what's going on right now. So that was a little crazy, but let's move on. The prices have gotten pretty crazy, outrageous. But let's move on, because I do have a 2-for-1 ticket that I got outside. So took the 2-for-1 ticket, and then they do have a little like speakeasy lounge inside of this restaurant, which is the perfect size. I'm a very strict grader on speakeasies, and I was like, well, let's see what they got. So I walk over to the candy store, which when you walk into the main dining room, there's a candy store. There's a guy standing there, obviously, in a suit, which, I mean, unless he's like picking out candy, I don't think he is. He's the security or the guy in charge of that area. And I said, yeah, I'm going to the lounge. He opened up the back hidden door that reveals the candy shop, or the hidden lounge, and you're there. So once I was inside, great size. Love the size of the speakeasy. They got a DJ on the inside. They have good amount of seats, lounge chairs. The bar top seating is a little bit small, which there was more, but they do have seating, which is nice, unlike other places, like let's just say Easy Speakeasy, which has 0 seating. Good lighting, you're able to see in there. It does have its own restrooms as well, which that is a plus. You don't have to go outside to go to the restrooms. So that's actually very, very nice. But on the inside, DJ music, perfect level. Good, exactly what you want to hear. Good, like it had like a hip hop vibe to it, but it wasn't like over the top. It was all classics from like the mid 2000s, early 2000s, the 90s, stuff that like is very doable and that sort of, at this point. And then the bartenders, good amount of alcohol behind the bar, a lot of good spirits, and I ended up getting a cocktail from them. Oh my goodness. I'll actually try to pull it up just so you guys know the name of it. Oh yeah, the lounge. Here we go. So I ended up getting not the Midnight Oil. Nope, can't. Oh, that's in the wrong place. I gotta find it for you guys. Sorry. My bad about the menu thing here. There it is. The Gold Watch. So I ended up getting the Gold Watch, which is sort of like a whiskey sour. It ends up coming with Horse Soldier Bourbon, Romano Amarero, lemon, olive oil. It's olive oil, not an olive, and egg white. I did have to ask. I was like, can I get it without an olive? And they're like, no, it's olive oil. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Let's try it out. And it was actually quite delicious. And it took me kind of a long time to drink it, not because it was bad, but just because it was, a really good sipping cocktail. Very much like a whiskey sour with the egg white addition. You don't have to reserve seats, which is nice. So I was able to actually just go and sit in a very nice booth. Able to look at the DJ. I was able to look at the rest of the room. And then once a seat opened up at the bar, I went over there. But this is not like a room you're going to get nuts in. There was like a group that came in that was like, wooing and all that. And it's not that kind of place. It's definitely a place that you're going to be there with like a smaller group, maybe 4 people, have a conversation, chill out, maybe dance a little bit, because obviously we're all here. We love dancing. That's cool. But the wooing is a thing that is definitely like a mating call in Las Vegas that, is around. But was there, had 2-for-1 drinks. The second drink I had was an old fashioned. It was delicious. It was fine. But yeah, 2-for-1 ended up being about, it ended up being about a $27 sort of excursion, but for 2 drinks. So if you said Vegas no longer has any deals, you're wrong. But the hidden lounge there is open essentially as long as the restaurant is open, and that is again located in what's called the candy shop. Sometimes they have a password. They didn't have one this night, so I just said I'm going to the candy shop, and that's where the guy lets you in. So not bad. Overall, Carmella, I think, is fine. I think it's a little bit pricey. Definitely share if you're going to be going here. Again, it's good for sort of a like mid-level night out, just in terms of like how it feels on the inside. It says it's swanky. It's okay. I don't know how swanky is, but It's fine. But the actual casino itself, the Planet Hollywood, quite filled. I believe they did have mostly $25 tables, so that was for the for craps. I think they might have had a couple $15 tables, which is nice. And it's actually one of the only places that still has what's called the Pleasure Pit, which was really like all the rage when I was like 21. Was that all these places? I would say I kind of got the back end of it, but before that, there were so many like of these like sexy blackjack pits where you would find, this kind of thing. So at least they're keeping it strong. I actually have a friend who was a go-go dancer, which I went to her I went to her auditions because what else am I gonna do? And it would be, I thought there would be like 20 people there. There were legit like 115 girls there to audition. Crazy. It was great though. It was a really fun time. I think Paris also used to have the or maybe they still do have them, is the go-go dancers. So ended up going to Planet Hollywood, and then I had a plan that I wanted to walk to the brand new, just opened Bottled Blonde, which overlooks the Bellagio fountains. I did. There was no cover charge, and I'm going to preface all of this that it was essentially 9:30 or 9:45 when I walked in. It is 2 floors, so you have the bottom floor, which has live music and live music area. They also have a very large bar section and places to sit. It was closed. So the only area that was open was the second floor, which is where they have their DJ. It's more of like a ultra lounge, like Nashville style bar feel to it. Someone said nightclub, and it's like, this is not a nightclub, folks. By Vegas standards, this is not a nightclub. It's very much a very, very high end lounge. So you go up there, they have, beautiful bartenders, they're there. But to my surprise, and a beautiful view, probably the best view of any bar on the Strip, besides maybe like Beer Park, is Bottled Blonde. It looks absolutely wonderful. You get an elevated view of the Bellagio fountains. You can see the Strip. It's great. And it was dead. There was nobody there. Like there was probably, there was groups obviously scattered about. But, there was like a group of 2 here. There was a group of 3 or 4 over here. Maybe 4 or 5 guys lined up at the bar. Like 2 other dudes and myself. And guys, it was empty. Not what you want to see at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night in Las Vegas. I do understand that it is actually like the first week of school coming up. I was on a Saturday. Monday was the first day of school. So I get it. But this is not good. And then I did also hear from people that are, closer to the situation. Essentially, they know like some of the entertainment that's there. And they told, the person who works there told them that they're essentially just leaning on the bartenders, any of the cocktail waitresses, barbacks to promote that bar, which is never something you want to rely on. You want to get out there with marketing. You don't, on your own, really focused marketing to get those people in. Just because you have a head start on like half of the competition. You're on the Strip. You're usually pretty loud. You're a big footprint because you're brand new. You're just structure all by yourself. And there was no cover charge. And you're in a great location. This is not rocket science. Put yourself out there. Put yourself on billboards. Let people know that you're there. Just because you know who they do know is there. They do know that Old Red is right there. That's where Blake Shelton's restaurant is, bar. You can go over and go to Jason Aldean's. Everyone knows that that place is open. That place is popping. You have to make yourself known and stick out in a place like this. It's not like you're going to places like, I'm going to use my hometown, Tucson, Arizona, where when you're the new thing, everybody wants to see the new thing. Here, you could be the new thing, but you got to let people know that you're there because it's a very tough business to open something on the Strip, especially a standalone that's not inside of a hotel where you have regular foot traffic. You need to stand out. And I had 1 beer there, which was $15, by the way, $15 beer. 1 beer, and I rolled out because I was like, this place is dead. And that's not what you want to see on a Saturday night. So, Bottle Blonde, get your stuff together. You guys were pretty nice during the daytime. I seen them. I went there in the daytime and I had some wings. They were pretty good. Good vibes. I actually like it there, like in the day, just to sort of sit and sort of look out and people watch. Great people watching opportunities at Bottled Blonde. Hopefully they, get their stuff together, because I would really like to try this place again when my brother and his friends all come to Las Vegas again. Okay, now let's end the night. So now we head north up to Arts District. I usually do not do this route. I usually come from the south part of the Strip. So as I come up south, I'll hit the Strip, and then I'll go back. I do not go north, just in terms of, being safe. So I ended up going north. I sort of really managed any drinking that I did. Really kept it sort of minimal. And yeah, so I made my way to the Arts District, and then I actually got followed by, on the Concierge Confidential Instagram page, a Speakeasy, which I clicked, because it said Charleston. I was like, is this in the middle of nowhere? I clicked on it, and it's actually, I went to 2 Speakeasies one night, huh? I clicked on it, and it's actually inside of the Creamery, which is right across from Nocturno, in the Arts District. So I was like, oh, I know exactly where that place is. This is fun. So end up getting there, had to find parking. Took a minute, but found it. Went into the ice cream shop, which was later at night, so everyone kind of knew why, if anybody was there. You can make reservations. I recommend it. But what's nice is that you kind of don't need them, but I do recommend it because this place was actually quite full. And the thing about really cool local bars is that, especially if they are a Speakeasy or if they're in the Arts District, especially on the weekends, they will be busy. They could be a Speakeasy and they're going to be busy. So really fun, and the thing is, there is a little bit of a level of there's a level of art to doing a Speakeasy. So I usually, one of my biggest rules is that if you have a bouncer or a security guard standing outside with a rope, like a velvet rope, you're kind of a shitty Speakeasy, just because I don't want to know that it's there. The whole fun is that it's a surprise. So I ended up, and the thing is, local Speakeasies, you kind of have to be told that they're there, because you will miss them, especially if they're in a rando place. So this place is inside of an ice cream shop, and it's called CC Speakeasy. And you go in, and you can make a reservation on their website. It'll take you to where you can make a reservation. And I walk up, I say, reservation for one, and there were people waiting to go in. And she's like, okay, let me just check and see. It was they'll radio on the inside. Pretty sick. Radioed on into the inside of the room. They had a seat at the bar, which is fantastic for me. And then I filmed it. You may have saw it on the gram. He's like, all right, we're ready. And you go in through this ice box door. So it looks like this industrial ice, what's what I'm looking for, refrigerator. And you go in, and then you pop open the door, and then boom, you're inside of this beautiful room. Beautiful Speakeasy, the beautiful green walls. I love the green walls that it had, and those beautiful accents of light on them, beautiful light fixtures. Nice big bar. Really, really good selection of spirits, very big, large. It was absolutely fantastic. Very long bar. Love the bar. The bar was the perfect size. Again, it was full, the whole bar. I was able to sit on the corner, but really great size of this bar. Also, lots of areas to sit for couples, which is great. They had a couple little baby booths. You can actually eat dinner there if you wanted to. They do have a pretty full menu in terms of Speakeasies. One of the bigger menus that you would find with food, and really fun array of different drinks. I ended up getting... I got a mint julep to start. That's become kind of my new thing. This one was not as good as the one over at Nocturno. Still, the one at Nocturno, my favorite mint julep I've ever had was there. And I've been to Kentucky, to the Kentucky Derby. That was my favorite mint julep I've ever had, was the one at Nocturno. This one, still pretty good. Very frosty. Love the glass in it. Great presentation. Looked beautiful. Loved it. Mint julep was great. Then I ended up having their lollipop wings. Lollipop wings aren't for me. They have a weird taste to them, and it's not the fault of the restaurant. I think it's just me. Not a fan of the lollipop wings. Lollipop wings not on the scorecard. But had a drink, sip of water, some soda, Mexican Coke, delicious. Then I moved over to the other side where I was able to talk to the bartender a little bit, back and forth, yada, yada, yada. Then I got another drink, which was a sort of tropical thing. Let me actually check it out real quick because I took a picture of it. Beautiful. It's just a beautiful cocktail. I'll have to post this night just so you guys can take a look at it. It'll probably just be like in regular posts, not like in a reel or anything. But it had this beautiful like orchid flower on top with like this pineapple thing on it, and it had like a little bit of rum. So good. It's always funny whenever I say rum, just because I always think about forgetting Sarah Marshall when he's like, how about some pineapple juice, a little bit of rum on the side? And I always think that's really the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. But I'm looking up the actual like thing because I want you guys to know what it's called. But they're very nice there. They're open like pretty late. I think they're open until like 2. I think I was there till about maybe 12:30 or 1. But let's check out look at the menu because menus are important. I ended up having, and they talk through it to you as well. Like this is another place that knows how to talk through cocktails, and I feel like a really good education could be learned by just learning how to talk to the bartender about like what you want. Because just understand, like they're not taking it personal that you don't like certain things. It's your palate. That's like how you drink, and it's great. Also, love that they have a thing called I Got Worms. I did catch on a lot of these movie names, which I loved. Ube-Wan Kenobi. That sounds delicious. So, you're my boy, Blue. Also, like I wanted to get that drink just because I did enjoy the name of it, which was called You're My Boy Blue. And I was like, I don't really like blueberries. Like a lot of blueberries. Like, yes, you shouldn't get that because you're not going to like it. So did end up getting that one. So many choices. I'm sorry you guys have to wait and let me hear this. So here it is. It's called the Hey Hey. So the Hey Hey is what I had. It's $16, which again, wild that like this is a handmade cocktail and it's absolutely beautiful. There's a flower in it, a pineapple. It has all these different elements. It's cognac, pineapple juice, lemon juice, mango passion fruit puree, mango liqueur, and aromatic bitters. Like, and it was $16. The beer that I ended up having, which is a regular, 16-ounce beer, was also $15. Like, that is not the world that I want to live in. It's crazy. But had the Hey Hey, absolutely delicious, very, very fruity, very, very floral. Didn't really get a lot of the cognac, which is kind of like, for me, I don't want cognac. I don't really like the taste of it. Some people love it. Not my thing. But really was exactly what I wanted, which was like very light, very, very fruity, very much like the Caribbean. And it, like the actual speakeasy itself doesn't have like a specific like theme, although it does have like this sort of like jungle, like back room kind of look to it. But it's not like silly. It's not like a tiki bar. It really is like just sort of like a cool bar that has all this cool little things, little splashes of artwork everywhere. And it's cool. It's a cool little spot. It's got a cool little entrance. I like it. I really like CC Speakeasy. I think it's one of the better speakeasies in town if I was grading speakeasies, which again, I'm really down on them, really down on speakeasies as like a whole, but I actually think I ended up going to 2 really good little speakeasies in one night. Who could say that? So I was all over town. I'm not going to lie, guys. Sometimes I just want to go to Delilah's, talk to the bartenders that I know, listen to music that I like, look at beautiful people, and know exactly what I'm in for that evening. That's me. But I will try to get better at going to other places just so I can come back and have a beautiful episode telling you guys about my night. So this is doable. You can do it. Don't recommend do all the driving that I did. Just because I don't recommend driving all over town, especially if you're going to be drinking a little bit. Really paced myself out. I really sort of like understood like myself, which everybody always says that, but you really got to like hydrate with water. You definitely have to eat. Eating is a huge part of like, if you want to drink in Las Vegas, you have to eat your food. You have to eat food. If people always say like, well, I don't want to throw up. Well, it's counterproductive because actually if you don't eat, you're probably going to throw up faster because you have nothing in your stomach sort of filling it up. So it's important to eat because it helps you sort of like soak in all that alcohol. So this was Science Corner with Brian. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Really appreciate it. I am moving. I'm moving not out of Vegas. I'm moving locations, like apartments. Really excited for the new space. Probably do more video podcasts once we get to the new spot because we have a little bit more space now. So hopefully you guys will be on the lookout for that. Maybe it'll be on YouTube. But Really, really excited about it. I may or may not have an episode next week. Gotta let you know. Maybe we'll do a negative one this week. Who knows? But thank you so much for everybody listening. If you see me out in town, please come up and say hello. But remember, keep it confidential.